The current Genshin's meta is about to undergo some big changes because of the new upcoming endgame mode, the Imaginarium Theater. And if that's not enough, the two new Electro units, Chlorant and Sethos, have been out for a while now, and no matter what you think about them, they might end up playing an important role for this new endgame mode. So in this video, I want to talk about the 4.7 banners, as well as the characters, and investigate a few more crucial things. You know, it's crazy if you think about it. The last time an Electro 5-star unit showed up on a featured banner was Yaimiko back in February, and Hoyoverse thought, hey, it's been a while, here's two new Electro characters, Sethos and Chlorant, hope you like them. Now, I'll get into this a bit later in the video, but basically, the first cycle of Imaginarium Theater will start early in July, and one of the big twists about it is that you can only use certain elements to beat it. For the first cycle, only characters from Animo, Pyro, and Electro can be used, with a few exceptions, which again, I'll talk about later in the video. But I want to focus on Electro here because, as we all know it, this element had a pretty rocky start when the game launched, but later on, when Sumeru update came along, suddenly quite a few Electro units' value skyrocketed, such as Shinobu. So, what about Chlorant and Sethos? Honestly, it's been a while since I played with Electro unit, besides, Cookie triggering the Hyper Blooms, but so far, Sethos feels like a very unique character since he has two playstyles. Either go with a charge attack build, where he will consume chunks of his own energy to deliver fast and strong charge attacks, or you go the regular way and build up his energy, activate the burst, and start unloading fast normal attacks, which, by the way, still count as charge attack damage. So he's fine, his constellations aren't super amazing, a good stopping point is C2, and he is easy to build with Slingshot and something like Wanderer said. But what about Chlorant? Well, essentially, if you saw my previous video, her playstyle boils down to activating her skill and then using 3 normal attacks followed by a skill button press, which then performs a lunge, and then you repeat this up to 6 times. Now, this playstyle does change a bit if she has the burst ready, because then she gains Bond of Life, which can be immediately consumed to do a powerful lunge attack with her skill, so as you can see here, that's the current rotation that's great to follow along. Also, this is a second character who utilizes the Bond of Life mechanic. Previously, Arlecchino was the only one, and now in Phase 2 of the 4.7 update, Siegewin will also have mechanics around Bond of Life. Now, usually, Bond of Life prevents the character who has it from getting healed, and instead, their Bond of Life becomes reduced from healing until the bar is gone. But funny thing is, Arlecchino as well as Chlorant do not care about this. Like, Chlorant's skill states that she cannot be healed while in this skill stance, and instead, healing is converted to Bond of Life. And when she does her lunge, she heals herself based on the amount of Bond of Life she had. Vice versa, if her Bond of Life does not exceed 100%, then her pistol attacks deal greater damage and pierce enemies. So, in other words, Chlorant can self-sustain herself, and I think this will be a pretty important thing to consider when it comes to the Imaginarium Theater. Like, I've seen people online calling her the new better Keqing, since they both have kinda similar playstyles based on the amount of field time they demand, and both can utilize the Thundering Fury set. But the biggest edge she has right now is that self-sustaining healing, and, kind of amazing damage if you build her right. Which, by the way, is pretty easy to achieve, since the Fontaine's craftable Finale of the Deep Sword is busted on her, and you can easily use artifact sets like Fragment of Harmonic Whimsy or the Thundering Fury set I've mentioned a moment ago. So yeah, with this quick recap about the Electro characters, next I want to talk about the Imaginarium Theater and the new upcoming 5-star Siegewin. Okay, let's talk about the new endgame mode. Starting from July 1st, Imaginarium Theater becomes available and it will have a total of 3 difficulty modes: easy, normal, and hard. Now, to participate in this challenge, you will need to select characters from the 3 different elements: Pyro, Animo, and Electro. There will be 6 trial characters, also known as opening cast, that you can use, which includes Arlecchino, Thoma, Chlorant, Cookie, Wanderer, and Farzan. All of them are raised to level 80, and I believe they are also using 5-star artifact sets, as we saw from the live stream. But you can also use your own characters from these elements specified, and on top of that, you can also borrow a unit from supporting cast, which are basically units you can use from your friends list. And then there's also special guest stars: Risley, Baiji, Alhaitham, and Siegewin. Notice how they break the rules of the 3 element limit? Yeah, this will open up some freedom in terms of team comps. For example, Siegewin, who's the upcoming 5-star Hydro Bow user, she can shoot a bubble to her enemies with the skill, which can also trap them, and this will will be an extremely crucial source of Hydro application for various teams like Quick Bloom, Vaporize, and Hyper Bloom. I mean, yeah, for this game mode, she's going to be the best Hydro unit because she's the only Hydro unit we can use. And what's also cool about her is that she can use her burst to blast enemies with Hydro in an area for some time. So it's gonna be interesting to find out how other players in the community utilize this precious source of Hydro. But in a nutshell, this mode will require you to invest into multiple units to beat it, and you'll need to have the units from specific elements in each season. And for example, the hard difficulty will require a total of 18 characters to be utilized. So assuming you use the 6 trial units provided, you'll still need 12 more. So I recommend building them to at least level 70 with 5-star artifacts, and relevant talents raised to at least level 6. Remember, you can also invite one unit from friends list as well. Still, there is one crucial thing that you need to be aware of. Each unit in this game mode can be used only twice. Basically, everyone will start out with 2 vigor points, and after each battle, 1 vigor will be lost, and once it's all empty, the unit can no longer be used for upcoming battles. However, as far as I'm aware, this limitation is just for the session of the selected difficulty, so you can still reuse the same character in all modes of easy, normal, and hard difficulties. And basically, this theater mode is going to have some roguelike elements. For example, each challenge will allow you to spend special currency to either obtain buffs or increase the difficulty of the challenge to earn more currency. And in each challenge, there will be 4 events to choose from, which you can also refresh up to 2 times. So you can choose events that have, for example, some buffs. And then when doing combat challenges, you will need to obtain stars similar to Abyss, but there will be unique objectives you'll need to complete. Like we can see from the livestream footage, the 3 objectives are to defeat all enemies, trigger swirl 5 times, and finish the challenge within 75 seconds. So a pretty interesting way to complete each combat challenge. Oh, another cool thing I've noticed is that the 6 opening cast units will receive a blessing for the duration of Season 1 of Imaginarium Theater, and this buff will increase the party's max HP, attack, and defense by 20%. And here's the big twist, this buff actually persists everywhere, not just the Theater mode. So this includes open world exploration and even the Spiral Abyss. Finally, let's talk about the schedule and rewards. So, on July 1st, the theater's first season will start and last for the whole month, and then in August, Season 2 will start. For the first time, when you clear the difficulties, you can obtain 1,100 Primogems as a one-time reward, while seasonal rewards will include 620 Primogems. But if that's not enough, Spiral Abyss rewards will increase from 600 to 800 Primogems. However, beginning from second half of July, the Abyss will now last for a whole month instead of the usual 15 days. But overall, each month we'll be able to obtain a total of 1,420 Primogems. So that's 220 more than compared to the twice resetting Spiral Abyss that offered 1,200 Primos. So yeah, as you can see, we're finally getting a new endgame mode, and it looks pretty interesting. But you know what's also great? Hoyo deciding to sponsor me. That's right, today's video is brought to you by Genshin Impact, an open world RPG available on PC, mobile, PS4, and PS5. As you already know, the newest version 4.7 introduces a bunch of new and returning characters. Clorant and Alhaitham along with Sethos are featured in Phase 1, and soon enough in Phase 2, Siegeween along with Furina will be available to pull for. But on top of this, one of the most exciting times in Genshin, at least for me, is when Dainsleif shows up. And luckily in 4.7, he's back, and this time, we actually get to see the sibling. And of course, there's also lots of fun events you can participate in, including the new permanent endgame mode Imaginarium Theater. So whether you're somebody who stopped playing Genshin or you're interested to try it out for the first time, make sure to use my link in the description and download the game because, hey, it's an epic and massive anime RPG and it's free. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, hope you enjoyed it, and as always, make sure to subscribe to my channel and press the like button on this video. Thank you for the support and see you next time.